They had crawled in to sleep beneath the shelter of an ancient concrete ledge, the remnants of a roadway that once curved about a hill. Below them, the outlet of a storm sewer had crumbled back to the creek it had been before man interfered. The creek meandered downhill through a strand of sugar pines and briars. Amy heard a squelching sound and then felt a cool, wet cloth being laid across her eyes. Axel could be so nice, she thought. He must have torn off a piece of his shirt to get the cloth. Thank you. Some cracked lips made speech difficult for her. Water from the cloth dribbled down her cheek and into her ears. She reached up to scratch and her arm collided with a leg. The leg was too big to be Axel's. With a quick breath of fright, she smelled sweat. She tried to move her legs, but her ankles were tied together. Her heart began to beat too fast. Like an animal when it first senses mortal danger, she went still, her elbow still touching the leg. What is it? She heard Axel's voice next to her. Pebbles grated as he moved. Amy? His fingers touched her hand in reassurance. Something's tangled on my feet, he said. Must have been too tired to notice when. What's that smell? Not me, she managed to say. Someone's here. Axel let go of her hand and struggled to get up. She pushed the cloth aside and winced at the glare through her eyelids. While she had slept, her eyelids had swollen shut. The leg shifted and moved away, and a hoarse voice spoke. Don't be afraid. You must not run. You must rest. By pressing both hands against her face and peeking through the finger slits, she managed to make out a brown shirt and then the face of the crazy. She wanted to cry. It had all been for nothing. It's not fair. Her cry of protest was slurred by the stiffness of her swollen face. Why did you let us go? Let us get this far, if you were going to bring us back. That's cruel. When he didn't answer, she decided he wasn't going to. Her eyes burned and she closed them and covered them tightly with the cloth. It didn't matter anyway, she thought. It had been stupid of her to hope. Stupid, stupid, stupid. She felt the vines around her ankles pull tight, then break, and she was freed. Dry leaves and pebbles rustled as Axel was untied. Sorry. The man spoke as if he had to stop and remember most words. I didn't follow. I followed, yes, to the door on 70. Most go down. You went up and I was glad. He lapsed into brief silence. I could have stopped you. They were going to report me. I knew they would someday. I got ready. I climbed the old steps, walked the old halls. Not even rats go there. People die. People forget old things. The city's old. Amy shivered, not because he sounded crazy, but because he sounded sane, and much too sad. I saw you yesterday, moving in the distance. I was glad. They exiled you, not killed you there. I followed you again, but not to catch, to help, to make up. For what? Axel said suspiciously. I watched her, the girl, and others, yes. Me? Amy said. Why? You read. Others read. Nests of troublemakers, like rats, so the authorities think. They are never sure. I was a reader. They found me out, sent me to be retrained, but they let me keep my mind, because I had the disease. I could recognize the symptoms in others. I watched for them, and reported, and lived. Did you kill Elton? Axel asked. Elton? You have his stuff. The dead boy by the water. How did he get dead? Axel persisted. The man paused and then said, I don't know. He was dead. He didn't need anything more. I did. I took it. You didn't kill him? Asked Amy. No. Amy was not sure if she believed him, but Elton wasn't her chief interest. If you don't want to take us back, why did you tie us up? You would see me and run, so I tied you, so you would rest. She heard him moving around, dragging something through the grass. You need food, he said. You'll never get to the boy's people. You heard me talking to Amy? Always, was all the man said. He gave them what tasted like uncooked proto-mush, a small clump of something sour-sweet and rubbery. Both ate it with no questions asked, and accepted the water he gave them in a handleless mug. Do you have much food? Axel's stomach was growling audibly over the proto-mush. You've had enough for now. If you weren't chasing us, where were you going? Amy wanted to know. Anywhere. Away. You worked for the authorities. Why didn't you just go up to the domes? Everyone works for the authorities. He hesitated. Some they send down and never let back up again, but they don't tell you it's forever. They let you guess, slowly, to punish, and when you ask, they lie, to give you hope, to keep you working, until all you want is to die, to escape the dark city. His voice trailed off into silence. Amy waited, but he didn't say anything more. He hadn't moved. She could hear him breathing and she could smell him. Did he fall asleep? Axel whispered. I'll look. Amy pushed an eyelid up far enough to peek out. The man sat staring straight ahead at Axel. She dropped the eyelid back in place and moved closer to Axel. I'm sorry, the man said. I scare you. It's been so long since I talked to people. I don't know how to act. Could you talk to other crazies? Axel said tactlessly. No, they scared me, the man admitted. I kept away from them. I'm not crazy, you know. He paused as if thinking that over. I don't think I am. I wasn't. Maybe you become what people expect you to be. Amy heard him get up and then felt his hand on her ankle. She jerked her leg away. What are you doing? Going to take off your shoes. Let your feet heal. I'll never get them back on. You will, when the swelling goes down. Let him, Amy, Axel said. It's okay. If he meant to hurt us, he could have bashed in our heads with a rock before we woke up. But if we can't get our shoes on, we can't walk. We can't now, Axel reminded her. I can't see much better than you. That's true, she agreed. The man removed their shoes. Her feet did feel better then. He went away and came back with water and a rag and washed them, and they felt better still. The sun reached their resting place, and the man helped the children move back into the shade and made them comfortable again. Amy remembered she had never feared him when he slept in the passageway. While he nursed them, he talked, at first slowly, haltingly, but as he got more practice, the words came easier. You've been all over the city, Axel said. How far does it stretch? Underground? Along the ocean, inland. Far. I don't know how far. There are walls, contamination barriers, fire barriers. There was no plan. It grew, like mold in the dark. They enclosed and roofed, to escape the heat and cold and dirt. Their waste buried them sometimes. There was hunger. The authorities came back up. They built the domes, sealed off the city. Is their city under us now? Could be. Some parts are dead. Empty. The domes are dying too. I saw them. Not from sickness, from not knowing enough. Authorities fear people knowing. Only the ones they chose, so they can control. Who told you this stuff? Amy asked. I was born above, in the dome. My parents were authorities, long ago. There was fighting. They died. All their party died except the very young, and we were sent down. Where? Who taught you to read? Me, in the garbage mines. That's what I was, when I was normal. A miner. His voice became more reflective as he remembered that time in his life. We found books down there. Such pretty books, below the veins of plastic and the metal and the glass. They couldn't watch us all. The watchers were afraid in the tunnels. The roof falls in sometimes, buries people. And there's gas. Danger. Waste kills. He rambled on, his voice becoming more and more weary as he talked. from either fatigue or depression at remembering. Amy listened, understanding only part of what he told them. He had apparently hidden some of the books he found and taught himself to read. Later, he learned that other people wanted books. He had sold some and traded others for food and clothing. One of his buyers was a watcher. Is that how Janet got her book? Amy wondered. Was it bought from a garbage miner? Perhaps this man? She forced her eyes open again. Did you know an old woman named Janet? She interrupted his monologue. She lived in my room. I didn't tell them, he said quickly. They thought she was normal, until she died with her book. She knew my name. She called me James.